Oh my god, I have the itchiest nose and I've just started recording. Okay, I scratched it. Hi, I'm back. I'm sorry, I was longer than I said I would be, but I did what I had to do for myself at the end of the day, so I hope you forgive me. But yeah, I'm doing really, really well. I am so healthy these days. Like, my body's actually working. The operation went well, as most of you know if you follow me on my own channel, but if you don't, my operation went really well. And yeah, I have a bladder infection though at the moment because I have a stent in my kidney and bladder and that makes me prone to infections. But the difference is, even though I'm on antibiotics and I've got an infection, like I still feel healthy because my body's working, like my kidney's working. So yeah. Anyway, another reason why I've been a bit hesitant about coming back to the channel is which kind of ties into the question of the week, which is, sorry, where are you with your ED? And the reason it ties in is because one of the reasons I haven't come back to the channel is because I've been going through a very difficult time in therapy in relation to my eating disorder. Not as such in the engaging in my behaviours. You know, I'm doing really well in that sense, but it's within the reasons why I developed an eating disorder and why it's my coping mechanism. And you know, I'm not going to go into the personal details because I don't feel comfortable doing that, but wow, it is probably the most frustrating thing ever, knowing it's your coping mechanism and knowing the reason behind it, but still thinking all these thoughts. Like when I was at my worst a couple of years ago, you know, if I was to like starve or binge purge now or do whatever, I don't know, I'm not gonna go into it, but I would be like very aware that I was doing it as a coping mechanism, as well as thinking I was, you know, all these thoughts like fat, thin, whatever, failure, control. But a few years ago, you know, I just did it because I felt like I had to do it. I wasn't sure why I was doing it, but I just needed to do it to feel better. So, yeah, it's frustrating knowing the reasons and knowing that you're not meant to do it and it's your coping mechanism. But it is a coping mechanism and it's all about retraining your mind, I guess, in recovery. But yeah, I'm doing really well. Um, where am I at with my ED then? So, out of a scale of 100, with one being like rock bottom, like really, really bad, and 100 being recovered, I'd say it was about like 65, maybe 70%, maybe 75%. Ooh. Yeah, 75% I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna doubt myself. But yeah, I don't know where to begin if I told you a bit about my story. I mean, I have loads of weird memories when I was a young child. I mean, my childhood was like one of the big stuff that happened in my childhood is a very big issue behind my eating disorder. Obviously, I didn't know it at the time, but now I do, and it's very upsetting. But I'm not going to go into it. But I have weird, weird memories where. Okay, I'm just going to ramble and tell you stuff. So, I remember when I was in reception, so that's at like 4 or 5 years old, I'm not sure. I remember in the dining hall, like we used to have school dinners, and then you used to have to ask if you could leave, and then the dinner ladies would come to your plate and like look at how much you've eaten, and if they thought you could eat some more before you went, they'd like split your food in half and then say, "Can you eat the bottom half?" and then you can ask to leave. And I've soon caught on to this, and I started to pre half my food by myself because there was loads of dinner ladies around, and you know, not going to think any different. And I didn't do it because I wanted to eat less at the time. You know, I did it because I wanted to go out and play in the field quicker. That's all it was. But you know, I was using it as control at that age. Not really sure why, but yeah. And there's another memory I have which is really embarrassing. But it must have been like in year three. So is that when you're 8 years old? I don't know. Something like that. 8 or 9. And I remember it was in maths class, and we had to do a graph of everyone's weights. Like we went around the class collecting everyone's data, and everyone like there was several pairs of scales around the room, and everyone weighed themselves, and then we just like casually shared our weight with everyone. You know, it's a very interactive lesson. And I remember every time I told my weight to someone, it dropped and dropped and it got lower and lower. And at one, it got to the point where someone was just like, that's really low. I don't believe you. Weigh yourself. And I got on the scales, and obviously it was heavier than what I was saying. But I just acted dumb, you know. I was only 8, and I was just like, oh, read it wrong. Sorry. But I was horrified. I remember being so happy that people thought I was lighter than I was, you know. I was, you know, something special, clearly. But no, I was mortified as well. But yeah, my parents separated when I was 11. I'm trying to think the important things to tell you. And I started to get really anxious around food, like really nervous. And it got to the point where I couldn't eat at school because if I ate in the school canteen, I was convinced everyone was looking at us. And I remember like there was this one incident, and someone said, "Oh, look at that fat cow eating," to my friend. But I was just like, well, if they're noticing her eat, they're obviously noticing what I'm like eating, how I'm eating it. And they said she's eating it like a pig or something. And I was mortified that people would think that about people eating, and I was convinced that they thought that about me. And I used to get so nervous, my neck would like shake like this, and my hand would shake with my fork, and I just was trembling. It was a very bad anxiety. It had nothing to do with not wanting to eat, because you know I was still eating. I ate my food after school time. You know, I used to have Mars bars like when I came in straight away. Yeah, I had no problem with food then, apart from a severe anxiety of eating in public, and it really affected me in like other stuff like performance, like singing, and obviously singing's my career, so um, I've come a very long way from there. I get nervous on stage, but I don't show it. Like it's a good nervous. I'm like, here we go. um, but yeah, I think singing has really helped me with my anxiety with food because it's helped my anxiety in general. But that started to develop, and it got really, really bad. I remember like I used to sing at church. I was a choir girl. Hello. But and I couldn't drink the wine from the cup because I was literally my neck would shake when I went to drink from the cup, and like my teeth, I could hear my teeth clattering on the metal, and it was so embarrassing. So I stopped taking communion. And yeah, I think by doing this I did start to lose weight naturally because I just wasn't eating during the day, and you know, it's not natural to do that. Even if you are eating on the night, you know, well, I wasn't eating enough calories. And you know, by the time I was 15, I caught on, you know, to the game of if you eat less, well, you lose weight, and I liked it. So I engaged in that, and I restricted my food a lot then. And then I started to binge purge a year later, and I thought it was the best thing ever. I was just like, oh my god, I can eat what I want and throw it up. Oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I've heard about it. I can't believe I'm doing it. Like, ugh. If I knew the hell it was going to cause me, I wouldn't have done it. But I just thought it was the best thing ever. But it got to the point where it wasn't my decision to do it. It just felt like I had to do it, and it was horrible. And I was spending days at a time doing it. You know, I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years now, but we actually had a half-year breakup because my eating disorder just took over. It was bad. This is when I was about 17, 18. And when we broke up, I went and got treatment for my eating disorder. And since then, I've been in and out of therapy. I've had many therapists. Um, and I finally found a therapist that I really get on well with. I've been with her for a year. It's been a very difficult year, obviously, because I've been unwell. So it's not been easy to like really concentrate on therapy. But yeah, you know, with all the other therapists, I was just like, I couldn't open up to them. I didn't want to open up to them, and all I could think was, it's because I'm fat. That's why I have an eating disorder. It worked like that. But with my therapist now, you know, I've really opened up to her, and I've told her stuff that I've never thought I'd tell anyone. And oh my god, it's the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Horrible, but best. So I guess with my eating disorder, I am 75% recovered. I still binge purge. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually making this video to distract myself from my binge purge because I've been having a very difficult time with therapy, and I had therapy today, and I've actually made the decision to like not see my dad ever again. And I hate my dad. I'm not scared to say that on the internet, but at the same time it's very difficult, and it's really upset my mum, and I find that really upsetting because like I love my mum, and my mum's had a lot of abuse herself, and I just like want a better life for her more than anything. I want her away from him. So yeah, um, a lot of family stuff's changing. You know, I'm not going to go into it. I don't feel comfortable going into it. But yeah, I'm working on the reasons behind my eating disorder, and naturally, without even really trying, you know, things have calmed down. Like I don't feel the need to binge purge all the time. I'm on antidepressants, and if anyone's interested in more about that, I'm happy to talk about it because I've had a really positive experience with them. As soon as I started taking them, I just, I don't know, it's just like every time I think about binging a purging before, it was just like a major like thing. There's something in my head was just like, no, you don't want to do that. Um, but as time's gone by, you know, that feeling really comes back in intensity when, but if it comes, like, that's the thing. I know now that something's really hurting inside and I can't cope with the situation. And I know the situation I can't cope with, and the situation I can't cope with is my dad and my mum and all this other stuff that's going around that actually caused my eating disorder in the first place, but that I'm actually tackling at the moment. So I guess it's understandable that I'm struggling a little bit, but you know, at the same time, I want to be healthy. I want to live my life to the full. I don't, you know, obviously I'm going to worry about what I look like, my weight and stuff like that, not in a vain way. Well, maybe yeah, in a vain way. I don't know. It depends how you want to look at it. But for me, it's not in a vain way. But I don't know. Like I want to take care of myself, especially after the last year of being so ill. Now that I'm like doing really well and feeling healthy, I don't want to let that go. Not at all. It'd be stupid to. What? To be a bit thinner. My life's too important for that. I've just got to keep fighting past the feelings of how it makes me feel because it makes me feel like a failure if I feel fat or I've not done good enough. But that's 25% left. I've got to go in recovery. So yeah, I talked for a very long time. If you've watched all this, well done you. Thank you. Um, I'll see you guys next Saturday. Bye. Did I really just wink? That is so embarrassing.